This is not the right. This is not the right directory. There we go. Okay. Oh, maybe it was the right directory. Hi, good morning. Everything's very small. Let me make it bigger for y'all. Boop, boop, boop. That's better. Oh, welcome back to Livecoding. Today, I'm gonna turn off the fan on my computer so that it's not humming at you for an hour. Today, it's Kubernetes time. What we did last week, by last week I mean on Wednesday, which was 2 days ago, my ability to correctly handle how time flies is getting worse over time, I think. Hello, Osvaldo. Welcome back. So, our assistant works locally. What we're trying to do, we're trying to get it on a Rasa-X cluster on GCP, which means y'all can use it. And then we can get some conversations and we can continue with the conversation-driven development part of the pipeline and be done prototyping. That's my goal. And let me get this going. There we go. All right. The thing that we did last week, which did not work, is we had a cluster up and running with our Rasa-X server. The conversation part of it worked, so the Rasa server was good to go, but the other thing that we need, the other server that we needed, the action server, did not go. And then I accidentally showed my password. So we're gonna restart a new cluster, and it will be great. So let me pop that up. There we go. So I'm gonna start by just creating a new VM instance, and this is gonna take a minute to get set up. So while we're doing that, we can chat. First of all, I need to name it something. Let me zoom in so y'all can see what I'm doing. So I'm just on GCP. I'm using Cloud Compute, I think, to start a new VM instance, and I'm going to call this dialect bot don't delete, please, because this is a shared project that we do demos in, and I want to make sure that my assistant continues to exist. Once we get it all set up, region, I'm on the West Coast, so I'm going to go with Oregon, what's a little bit closer to me, just to reduce latency, and I'm going to go with this N1 standard 4, because we recommend at least 8 gigs of memory, and that's the first machine that has that. And then I'm going to change the boot disk, so I'm going to add an order of magnitude more memory, because once we have our system up and running, then all of the conversations and everything that people do that we store will be stored in our VM. So we want to make sure it's pretty hefty. And then I actually prefer Ubuntu, and then we're going to go with 1604. That looks good to me. All right. And then the other thing that I need to do is allow traffic to join the assistant. All right, and I think that's everything correct, because if it's wrong, then we're going to have to do it all again. All right, and as you can see, we have billing set up. So let's create that. It's going to take a little bit, and then we can get our... Actually, I think once it's created, we're going to try to read in our action server from Docker Hub and see if that works. I'm just going to quickly turn on secret stuff just in case, just in case there's something shown that I don't want to be shown. Connecting, transferring SSH keys to the VM. Time for some coffee. I have a whole pot of coffee today. I know looks like it's got a tea bag in it, but it is in fact a coffee bag that has coffee in it. A little ASMR. Dismiss that. Okay, I think we're actually good to go, so I'm going to turn off the secret stuff. Yeah, so the first thing that I think we're going to do, I asked for help because I needed it. And I think we're definitely on the right track. But one thing that we should check is that so we have our action server that has all the information that our assistant needs to run the classifier. So the way this assistant works, if you haven't tuned in before, welcome, happy to have you. We're building an assistant where you take a quiz, so you answer a bunch of questions about what words you would use to describe something. So an example would be, what word do you use for something that's, on the other side diagonally of an intersection from you? So like kitty corner, catawampus. There's a bunch of other words that I wouldn't use, and there's a bunch of questions along that vein. And then once you answer them all, we use a classifier based on data from a dialect quiz that was given to a bunch of people, provided by VertFox. Thank you very much, Vert. And we are going to, in order to run that classifier once somebody finishes taking the quiz, and also in order to run the form, I don't know why I'm gesturing with a pen, and also in order to run the form, which is what allows us to ask a bunch of quiz questions in order without having to have like a bajillion stories that are like, first we ask a question, then we get the answer. First we ask a question, then we get the answer. Both of those are going to run on the action server. So the action server is going to be built from an image that we have uploaded to Docker Hub. And the first thing I want to do, I think, is check if we can get that image up and running. So how to pull image from Docker Hub? Command line. Pushing and pulling to and from Docker Hub, that's what I'm looking for. All right, we can run our first image. And since it wasn't, it downloaded the image from Docker Hub. Okay, so I have the commands over here. And the image that we've uploaded to Docker Hub, which is public, so you should be able to access it if you are interested, was dialect bot. Let's see if I can do Docker Hub. And then dialect quiz, excuse me. So here is the public image, and this is the image for our action server. Specifically, it doesn't have the conversation part of the assistant. So, and as you can see, I have done no work on that. There's no description, there ain't no nothing. So what is the command? So it is Docker. Actually, first let's just make sure Docker's installed. Please tell me Docker's installed. Please ask me. All right. Install Docker on GCP VM. I don't know why I assumed it would be installed. Containers on Compute Engine. I guess I assumed it would be installed because right now we are working in Docker, and I guess I assumed that the VM would also have Docker installed, but everything works on Docker. Yes. Installing installing container technologies in your instances. Install Docker on the Linux instances. That's what we're doing. All right. So that's pulled us. This was from the GCP documentation. Hello, Govind. All right, Docker provides .deb and .rpm packages for the following Linux distributions and architectures, and we are Ubuntu. I'm guessing it's AMD 64. I don't know the chipset. That sounds right. Stable, blah 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 blah. What do I need to type? What things do I need to type into Docker engine, Docker container? Older versions of Docker were called Docker, Docker.io, or Docker engine. If these are installed, uninstall them. Oh, interesting. So I'm wondering if our VM. So here it says to run Docker.io, please ask your administrator to install the package Docker.io. I'm wondering if the assumption is that we're going to be using Docker.io, which is an older version. should we install the latest version, or should we install an older version from some sort of archive? Who knows? It's a mystery. Let's just start with installing the latest version. I think it's most likely to have bugs what been fixed. Install upgrade test. This is a recommended approach. Some users download the deb package and install it manually. Installing using the repository. Before you install Docker Engine for the first time on a new host machine, you need to set up the Docker repository. Afterwards, you can install and update Docker from the repository. Update the apt package, index, and install package to allow apt to use repository over HTTPS. Add Docker's first official GPG key. What's GPG key? Mystery. All right, verify that you now have the key fingerprint. Use the repository command to set up the stable repository. Install Docker Engine. So now I thought that this would be like a one-line install, and it is not, but that's okay. Let's just follow these instructions, I guess. I'm gonna pull these over to another monitor. So first, uninstall old versions. I don't think we need to worry about that too much. Installation methods. Set up Docker's repository. I'm actually just gonna click back. So the recommended, oh, okay, so this is the recommended way to install that they suggest. Okay, so first we're gonna do sudo apt-get update. God, it's nice to be on Linux again. To be clear, this computer continues to be a Windows computer, but this VM is Linux. I don't have to remember the PowerShell stuff. All right, and then a big old one that installs a bunch of stuff. After this operation, 1.2 kilobytes of additional disk space will be used. Yeah, go nuts. We've got plenty. All right, hello, Shaksam and Sohan. Welcome to the stream. Today, installing things. All right, and then we need to add Docker's official GPG key. All right, I am copying and pasting. I don't know these commands off the top of my head. Okay, all right. And then we are checking to see that it was installed correctly. And then Docker release 2017. I looked at that date and was like, 2017's in the future. It sure ain't. It is not. Wowee. Okay. Unknown Docker release. Okay, so that looks as expected. Use the following command to set up the stable repository. I would not install nightly on anything I cared about. That's not fair. I might, if it was something I was willing to spend a lot of time maintaining, but I'm lazy. I'm efficient. There we go. All right. Okay, from here, install the Docker engine. Hello, Ace Thing. You've joined for an extremely riveting episode. And I should say that the commands that I'm using now for folks that have just joined are directly from docs.docker.com/engine/install/Ubuntu, and we are working on Ubuntu 16.04 for this particular VM. All right, updated, and then we're going to install Container Nerd. IO is the last thing that we're installing. So we're installing Docker CE, something engine, compute engine maybe, and then CE command line interface. Again, I do not know what CE is, and then containernerd.io. Oh, 281 megabytes. Oh, that's a lot of memory. We're fine. We set up this VM with 100 gigs of memory, so we should be good to go. Coffee.